Making the focus indicator more prominent is crucial for users to see where they are on the page. In this unit, we're looking into Success Criterion 2.4.13, which explains focus appearance. I'll detail the intent of this criterion and what it actually means, explain the impact to the user, the criterion addresses, some ways it could be passed, ways it won't, and follow with the summary of what you need to do to pass. By the end of the unit, you'll have a solid understanding of why it matters, understand the user's impact, and how to pass the criterion. 2.4.13 Focus Appearance is a criterion supporting users with low vision, cognitive and memory impairments by ensuring the focus indicator is easy to identify, and this is a AAA criterion. To pass it, the focus indicator, when visible, is at least a 2-pixel thick perimeter of the unfocused component and has a contrast ratio of 3:1 between the same pixels when focused and unfocused. And there's a few exceptions for when the focus indicator is determined by the browser or the focus indicator and background color are not author modified. A more prominent focus indicator basically means that when you're using a component with a keyboard, there should be a visible indicator showing where your focus is. The main idea here is that the focus indicator that the author designs should be easy to see. They also need to make sure that the contrast between when a component is focused and when it's not has an appropriate contrast. And the size of the focus indicator matters too. It should be big enough to be useful for everyone, especially those with low vision, cognitive issues, or memory problems. That way, everyone using a keyboard can quickly identify where they are on the screen. So we know the problem the criterion attempts to solve, but what is the impact to a user? This is Madhu. He's recently been diagnosed with glaucoma and has noticed his eyesight becoming steadily worse. When navigating websites, he gets by but finds it challenging when a website is designed with low contrast focus indicators, making it difficult to identify where the focus is. He likes websites that have a strong visual identity with prominent colors. The first part of the criterion specifies a minimum 2-pixel thickness focus indicator for components which receive keyboard focus. It doesn't require the focus indicator literally be a 2-pixel thick outline, only that the indicator be at least that large. The second part of the criterion is the contrast difference between the focus indicator and the same pixels when not shown have a minimum 3:1 contrast. If, for example, a button has a white border that changes to blue when it's focused, then the difference between the white and blue colors must be a minimum of 3:1. Whilst 3:1 is the minimum change of contrast ratio, the greater the change of contrast between states, the easier it is for users to see the focus indicator. And you're encouraged to make the change of contrast ratio as great as possible. This is because a low contrast change in state will be difficult for some users to discern. If an element's focus state is visually similar to its unfocused state, then they might not perceive the difference. So what exactly does passing this success criterion look like? Since the button has a border outline of 2 pixels and a darker colored border which is in excess of the minimum contrast ratio 3:1, this passes. What does failing this success criterion look like? Since this button has a border outline of 2 pixels and a light grey color, the color is below the minimum requirements of 3:1, this fails. A pixel thickness of at least 2 pixels and a contrast ratio between the focused and unfocused states of a minimum 3:1 will pass this AAA criterion. Although these are the minimum requirements for AAA criteria, increasing the focus appearance through a thicker border and color contrast will improve the user experience for everyone. The easiest way to meet this requirement is to use a solid 2-pixel minimum outline around the component. The color contrast requirement is the difference between the focus and unfocused state, and it must have a minimum 3:1 ratio. And you're encouraged to make the change of contrast ratio as great as possible. Use a solid outline around the component, with the outline being at least 2 pixels thick on all sides, and ensure a color contrast ratio of 3:1 between the same pixels when focused and unfocused exists. In the next unit, I'll look at 2.5.7 dragging movements, a AA criterion which discusses techniques for replacing the dragging interaction.